So I actually just saw another YouTuber break this video down, and it was talking about the idea behind this video somewhat talking negatively of saying hi to a girl, of approaching a girl. And I decided that I wouldn't watch it just yet, that I'd wait to actually record myself talking about it. I thought that you guys would like to hear my opinion on this. So we're back to Wheat Waffle again. You guys liked the last video I did, so I decided to do it again. And if you guys want more of these videos, you just have to let me know. Anyways, let's jump into it.
Yo, bitch, I got some buzzers clawing at my fucking stomach. I'm from the shadows, let the gallows make...
Myth 1. Just run the numbers. You'd have heard this advice from a friend or two, or various YouTube dating coaches. Just do 500 approaches, at least one girl will find you attractive. You'll be kicking yourself if you don't. Eventually, you'll find a girl that you click with, and this will be the right girl for you. Well, in this video, I'm going to be debunking this narrative, as well as two other concepts that you will frequently hear in the Red Pill community. And just like all of my other videos, I'm going to be breaking down why running numbers game doesn't work in each environment, the warm approach, online environment, and cold environment. Let's start with the warm approach. This involves trying to talk to, attract, and date girls that you already know, that you already have connections with, either at work, school, college, through your social circles, or friends, friends of friends, etc. So people that you already have a connection with, and you try to take things further and develop into potential dates and relationships. So why doesn't running numbers game work in a warm environment? Well, quite simply, it's because of this phenomenon known as the poisoning the well effect. And put simply, if you try to run numbers game, then after a couple rejections, it pretty much poisons the well for you. There is no more hope in that social circle for you anymore. So let's take a look at an example. This is you work in an office, and you quite like Alison, she's one of the other employees there. And you think to yourself, I quite like Alison, I think I'll ask her out. So you ask her, oh, Alison, will you go out with me please? And she rejects you. She just says, oh, sorry, I've already got a boyfriend at the moment, I'm already seeing somebody else. But thank you for the offer though. So now you think to yourself, oh well, I missed out on Alison, I quite liked her. But you also kind of like Brielle. She also works with you, you quite like her too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she also rejected you. She friend zones you. She tells you, oh sorry, I do like you, I really do. But not in that way. I think it's best if we just stay friends. So now you're thinking, oh well, that's another possibility gone down the drain. But we move on again. Next up is Caitlin. And Caitlin, she actually likes you. She's been eyeing you up and she's been wanting you to ask her out ever since you started working together. And if and when you ask her out, she is planning on saying yes. She wants to go out with you. However, unbelievably, when you go to ask out Caitlin, she rejects you despite having that initial interest. So, why has this happened? Again, it goes back to that idea of poisoning the well. Because what you don't know, after you asked out Alison and Brielle, what was happening behind closed doors was that the word got around. They told everybody. We all know that when...
Yeah, personally, I'm not a big fan of approaching people at your work. I think it's a bad place to do it, especially when you first start learning how to develop social skills. So for me, I used to go out and I would go to colleges. I went to malls. I went to bars. I went to clubs. You want to go somewhere there's anonymity. For this reason specifically. The cool thing though is that once you develop the social skills, these kind of situations are tenfold easier. Honestly, anytime I'm in a social situation, because of the amount of times that I've gone out and actually perfected my own social skills, my behaviors, the more that I became abundant, the more that whenever I get into situations such as this, the girls start chasing me. And it's because I went out and started approaching. It's because I developed the skills, I developed the confidence. And it only came because I went out and approached. But I don't think you shouldn't have to do it at work. I think doing it at work is a little bit, can get you in trouble, firstly. Secondly, I mean, there's better situations where you can go and talk to girls at. Social circle is the one he mentioned. Social circle is actually pretty incredible, to be fair. But for the most part, doing it at work is stupid. And it's usually what people do when they lack abundance, oftentimes, because they're poisoning, again, he's right on this, he's poisoning the well.
To gossip, especially when it involves someone asking them out. It makes them feel validated, and they would love to tell everybody they know about it. This is what happened, and this is why Caitlin rejected you, and this is the poisoning of the well effect put in action. The way I see it, and this is what will happen if you try to run numbers game in a warm environment, then you have at most 3, but most likely 2 chances of asking girls out. So if you ask a girl out and you get rejected once, then that is strike 1, and your chances will have dropped by 60%. Because...
How did he get to the 60%? That doesn't seem like a real thing, man.
Would have spread around, and that's going to plant a seed of doubt in the other girl's minds for why the first girl chose to reject him. Strike 2 is where things get severe. And this is where I'd say that your chances have dropped by 95% if, God forbid, you get rejected the second time. Because the thing with strike...
It's honestly it's way more complicated than that, to be fair. But I get what you're getting at. I get you're trying to do this. But the percentages, I think, are a little bit convoluted and honestly, have no backing. But it's cool for the visual effect, I guess. And it's kind of cool for the idea.
This is the point where people start to assume that you're a little desperate and needy and you're the guy who asks everyone out in the office. And then, of course, strike 3. 3 strikes and you're out. This is why you cannot afford to run a numbers game in a warm environment. And of course, yeah, I've made these numbers up, but the point is still the same and you get the idea. No girl wants to date a guy who hits on everyone and constantly gets rejected. And in fact, anything after 2 or 3 failed approaches will lead to you being labelled as nothing else but that one creep who hits on every girl. You don't want to end up in this place. You don't want...
All right, so my old mentor said this, and I think this is the greatest line that explains this perfectly for me personally. So, do you know what's creepier than a guy that approaches a girl and is creepy? A guy that never approaches a girl and never develops social skills. That guy is the creepiest human on planet Earth. You can develop this. So I think this entire video, the one thing that he misses out on is the fact that this is not, it's not, all right, you can improve at this. You're assuming that you have no way of improving. And that's actually where he's coming from. He's looking at this and he's saying, look, you're going to look stupid if you go and say hi to a girl. Because you're not there yet, because you haven't developed that social skills. But you're going to live your entire life being afraid of saying hi to somebody. You're going to be afraid to put yourself out there. You're going to be afraid to go and possibly find the love of your life, possibly find a girl that you really like, possibly go on some fucking massive adventure. The very first 2 years, I'll say this, that I did cold approach were one of the most difficult things I ever did. But immediately after that, I reaped benefits that I'm a very shy guy. I had no friends. Didn't have any girls. I was a virgin. And after those 2 years of me investing, I had results that people didn't initially believe. And I think about it like this. I put in so much effort into it and eventually it spilled over. And now 2 years of me investing into this, which to be fair, a lot of people actually liked me. And after a certain period of time, guess what? I would come back around and the people would forget that all this stuff ever happened. Maybe I'd even approach a girl at a college campus that I approached before and I accidentally approached her. It's like, you look familiar. And the fact that I look familiar and I'm now cocky and confident now makes her like me all of a sudden. Because now my energy's different. But she's now more comfortable because I approached her. This creepy thing right here that he's talking about, people change their minds so fast. If you come to them with this confident self-esteem, it's only temporary. This is not something that's going to last forever.
Like him. Trust me, I've been there. It's a bad place and it's very lonely. And why does this happen? Again, it's all because of this. What's going on in the background? Girls like to gossip around. It gives them that validation they desire, makes them feel empowered. That guy Brian, can you believe him? He thought he had a chance with me. Haha, how cute.
Fucking
But
Brian.
not so fun for this guy. So just to make my final point on this, I'm not one to give a huge amount of advice on this channel, but don't run numbers game in a warm environment. You don't want to end up like this guy. So how about the online environment? You might be thinking that running numbers game will be a great idea here. You probably heard the advice such as, I'll just swipe on every girl. I'll at least get some matches and then I'll just talk to those. And of course, the great thing about these online dating apps is that there is no risk of poisoning the well. There will always be new people to swipe through. However, there is a different reason for why running numbers game is also a terrible, terrible idea on an online environment. Let me introduce you to the Tinder algorithm. Now, I know you've heard of the YouTube algorithm. You hear me bang on about it enough in my own videos. Speaking of which, if you haven't liked a video and left your thoughts in the comments below, now is a good time to do so. But let's talk about the Tinder algorithm. And put simply, what this does is that it ranks different profiles from the highest to the lowest when they are being shown in the card stack. So obviously everyone knows how Tinder works, is that you are shown a near endless stream of profiles and you have a choice of whether you want to either swipe left or swipe right. And a huge misconception is that people think that the profiles that they are shown at random in absolutely no particular order. So you might be shown this profile first, then this one, then this one, then this one, and so on. This is wrong. Every single profile is ranked in an order. So when a new girl downloads Tinder, she will always be shown these profiles first and these profiles last, the lowest ranked profiles. And obviously this is important because you want to be seen more. If you're not being seen, and if you're at the bottom of the pile, then obviously there is going to be no hope for you. That's just common sense. So what are the factors that affect your profile's rank? The biggest ones are your swipe rate, so how popular your profile is. So the most popular profiles are going to have a higher rank than the least popular profiles. So if these profiles are getting one right swipe, one like for every single left swipe, then that is a good ratio, that is a good rate of return. And these are going to get a higher rank because of that. Meanwhile, these profiles on the right hand side, the bottom ranked profiles, if these are only getting one right swipe for every 100 left swipes, then the Tinder algorithm is going to assume these guys are unwanted, there is no point showing their profiles, we're going to rank them lower. The second factor that affects your profile's rank is your swipe quantity. So if you're a man and you swipe right on every single girl, then that tells the Tinder algorithm that you're really needy and desperate. And the Tinder algorithm will punish you because of that, and they're going to give you a really low rank. So these are the two main factors that affect your rank. And then there are also other factors such as paid promotions. So if you're a paying customer, then the Tinder algorithm is going to push you higher because they see you as having potential to spend money. They're going to treat you as a more valued customer. Also, how active your profile is. So if you open the app once in a blue moon and you don't answer messages very often, then that's going to push your rank lower. So how does numbers game tie in with all of this? Well, the key one to look out for is this one, swipe quantity. So if you're a man and you're swiping right on every girl, then all that is going to do is push your rank right to the bottom. You're going to be shown last in the card pile. And it actually gets to the point where there's this thing known as shadow banning. And this is where your rank is so low in the algorithm that it is like your profile doesn't even exist. There are so many men using Tinder that even if a girl swipes for a significant amount of time every day, chances are she won't even see your profile because its rank is so unbelievably low. And this is the concept of shadow banning. And the fastest way to get shadow banned is by swiping right on every girl.
Yeah.
Now, as I said earlier, I don't like to give a huge amount of advice.
Wait. This has so many different logical plot holes. Okay, so I think what he's saying is like you want to swipe. So in his strategy, swiping right on all girls, I think is what he's trying to get at. Well, why don't you just get picky with who you swipe on? Why don't you? There's so many things you can work on. You can work on, like, so for me, I took thousands of photos. I started off, actually, I had photos on my original profile that were rated. I rated all my photos. They were rated a 2 out of 10. And then what I did was I went and I just took a ton of photos. I just took photo after photo after photo. And eventually I found some that I found the right angles, found the right way of looking that got me a little bit higher, because every time I'd rate the photos and I'd see some would rate higher. And I'd be like, what was it about this photo that people liked more? And it just kept doing it. And eventually I have one of the top tier profiles. I think it's been about 3 days and I matched with over like somewhere between 100, 150 girls. And it's and they're gorgeous girls. It's a lot from the factor of what he's saying right here. I'm picky on my profile. I've tested bios. I actually split tested probably under 100 bios, maybe around 100 bios. And I worked at it. If you guys are actually interested in this, me and AG Hayden, we're actually creating an online dating product pretty soon. It's not coming out yet. It'll probably be out sometime mid-March, I'd say. But if you guys want to, look forward to that. We'll be bringing that out around then. But with that being said, this is so easy to fix. This is something you can work on. There's so many factors that people don't look into. Like, I'm ugly, so I can't do good at this. That's not the case. I've worked on so many people's profiles, and I worked for different companies in helping people with online dating. And they took people that were the lower rung of what you would think would be a guy that would never be able to do good on one of these dating apps, and they would get these guys to where they were swiping and getting really, really attractive girls. It's just you have to focus on what you can control and what you can't. That's one of the things I hate about this guy specifically. Not that there's anything wrong with his channel if you guys watch this. It's that he always looks at what he can't control. Don't focus on what you can't control. Focus on what you can control.
On this channel. But this is relevant for everyone, and that is don't play the numbers game online, because it is a one-way ticket to getting shadow banned. What you should do instead is cooperate with the algorithm. And there are two really important things tied with this. Number one is only swipe right on profiles that are equal to or below your looks match. Women are hypergamous. They are not going to swipe right on you if they think you're beneath them. So it's not even worth the attempt, and it will only decrease your rank in the Tinder algorithm. And
What? No, bro, no. No. I mean, be picky in the profile. So sometimes if a girl has like one photo or she has like just her Snapchat there, oftentimes she's just there because she's trying to pump up her stuff. Yes, you see those profiles, swipe left. But if you're not swinging for the fences, what? No, definitely swing for the fences. Figure that out. I like his thinking process behind this, but there is a way of getting that. And oftentimes these girls have like a type. Sometimes you just happen to be a girl's type. And when you happen to be that girl's type, she's going to swipe on you. It happens all the time. I like this type. I like this type. There's such a wide range of types that girls like, despite the fact that, I don't know, some guys like to think that, well, they have a fetish. They have a this. They have a that. They like a bad boy. They like a good boy. Girls have such a wide range, so many different types. And I mean, if you don't find a girl attractive, don't swipe on her. For me, though, it's if I look at her and I think that she's attractive, I'll do it. I swing for the fences. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. Then again, maybe people here are having a lot of limiting beliefs and they don't think they can. To be fair, like you do have to work at your photos, your profile. You do have to polish this. It is something that you can get good at. And sometimes it does feel like you're spinning wheels, but it is something that you can get good at.
Two, and this especially applies to younger guys, is don't swipe right on anyone older than you. If you're a man and you're 19, what?
No. That's not true either. Don't listen to him. That's so not true.
A girl who's 20
Girls love young guys. Some girls have like a fetish about that. It's not that big a deal. Don't think about it that way.
years old swipe on you when she has options that are 23, 24, 25 years old, who chances are going to be better looking, their faces are going to be more developed.
No, that's so not true. That is so not true. That's actually, to be fair, that's actually the opposite. It's actually the guys that are a little bit older that do a lot better. Look, I'll put it this way. Usually with the younger guys are the ones that are very soft. They're not very masculine. They can be, don't get me wrong, they can be. But the older guys usually are a lot more solid. They look a lot more present in their photos. They look a lot more at ease. Which right here, I'll do this. I'll show you guys a photo on the right. This photo is of a guy that's younger, but he's not at ease. The other one on the left, this guy is older, but this guy has great energy. He's relaxed. He's in the zone. He's in the pocket. When he took this photo, it's an authentic smile. This guy's going to do a lot better than this guy over here.
They're going to be higher status, have larger social circles, most likely already started their careers, have already started climbing the corporate ladder, and have a lot more money than you. In 90% of relationships, the man is older than the woman. So my point is, don't waste swiping on people that you know you don't have a chance with. As crazy as it sounds, you need to be as meticulous as Stacey's when it comes to using your right swipes. So that's that point. Don't play numbers game online. Moving on to point number 3. How about the cold approach? And if you've not heard of the cold approach before, it pretty much involves approaching girls that you've never seen before at bars, clubs, coffee shops, bus stops, parks, etc. So walking up to girls in the street that you're meeting for the first time and trying to create some energy, some spark, trying to get her attracted to you. Hence why it's called the cold approach, because you are seeing and talking to a girl that you've never seen before. And again, at first glance, this might seem like a brilliant idea. Unless you live in a very small town or village, there is going to be no poisoning the well effect. There will always be new girls that you have no connections with whatsoever. Likewise, there is no algorithm that will punish you for approaching more girls. After every failed approach, you're sent straight back to the beginning again. You're given a clean slate and you're back at square one. There is no algorithm that prevents you from being seen. However, running the numbers game on cold approach is also a
All right, man. Look, check it out. So number one, you're talking about quantity of effort, but not quality of effort. So you're not focusing on the ways that you can improve. You're not focusing on the ways that you can do your eye contact better, the way that you could be looser, how you could be clever, witty, how you could be not try hard, how you can even dress nicer, clean up, how you can say things in a different way. You're not actually focusing on the stuff that you have control over. You're like, oh yeah, just blithely go and approach, just approach a ton. There's so many things you can improve on. So much. See, I'm biased, to be fair. I've been doing this for a decade, but my results, because of this right here, are so 180'd. So 180'd. I'm the complete opposite of how I was 10 years ago because I did just this right here. The whole reason that I think cold approach is amazing is because it is what developed my charisma, my social skills, my ability to speak. And I think that it is necessary as a means to Develop a guy that doesn't feel very confident, who doesn't feel very attractive. You need abundance. You need to actually get yourself out there. You need to bang the drums. Think with quality of effort. How could I have done better? If I could relive this interaction again, how could I do it again in a way that she'd find me sexy? That's what I'm getting at.
What I do. And if you want the short answer for why it doesn't work, put simply, it's because the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Unless, of course, you're good looking. But if you want the long answer, then I'll explain it now. Let's use the 1 to 10 look scale that everyone's familiar with to see what sort of success rate you should expect given your attractiveness. And we'll measure this by the likelihood of getting a date. So no, not phone numbers. Because nowadays, if you do cold approach, even if you're unattractive, girls will still give you their phone numbers. But that is not an indicator of success. Because what a lot of girls will do is give out their phone numbers to men that they're not attracted to, as it's just a quick and easy way to get rid of somebody. They don't have to tell these men to their face, I don't like you, get away from me. They don't have to make it awkward, and they don't have to be rude or offensive. It's just a lot easier to give out their phone number and then flake on the texts or calls later on. So we're going to be measuring success in terms of dates. I think I made myself quite clear on that point. So first of all, let's have a look at 8+ men. These are your chads. And let's be conservative here. Let's say that 1 in 3 approaches that they do are going to land themselves a date. Because of course, some of the girls are going to be in a rush to get somewhere. They have work or they already have a chad boyfriend. So let's be conservative and say 1 in 3 approaches leads to a date. Next up, we have our 7 out of 10s, often referred to as chad lights. And they can expect a success rate of around 1 in 10. Normie tier, our high 4s to low 6s, they can expect a success rate of anywhere between 1 in 25 on the low end and 1 to 100 on the high end. And if you're not seeing the point I'm trying to get to by now, once we get to this territory, our sub 5 range, then we're literally talking thousands upon thousands of approaches just to get a single date. This is what I mean when I say the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And for every single one of those failed approaches, for every rejection you have, it's going to take a little chip out of your self-esteem. It's going to make you feel worthless, unwanted, and it's going to have a significant impact on your confidence. Now, I'll give a small bit of credit to the Red Pill community, that if you are in this 5 to 6.5 range, then these odds of single-digit percentage points might make it worthwhile. I use the word might strongly there. To do the cold approach, to run the numbers game in a cold environment. And it could be worthwhile, and it could be your only option in terms of getting dates and attracting women. But the difference is that once you reach sub 5, definitely sub 4, then it is not worthwhile in any way, shape or form. If you approach girls with a face like any of these, then at best, they're going to call you a creep, tell you to get lost and give you the cold shoulder. At worst, they're going to call the police on you. And even then, let's say that you do get unbelievably lucky. A girl feels really sorry for you and you manage to get a date. You also have to take note of further barriers that are along the lines. You need to make sure that the date goes well, that she doesn't flake on you last minute, and that she enjoys herself and has a good time. You need to make sure that she messages you after, that the texting is flowing easily, and she's not giving you one-word answers and being unresponsive. You need to get her out on a second date. You need to make sure that she doesn't reject your advances, that she doesn't turn away when you're going to kiss her, and so on and so forth. And you've got to bear in mind that getting past each one of these barriers is going to be exponentially less likely the more unattractive you are. So an 8+ man, a chad, he might...
Oh, in case you guys are curious too, because I know somebody's who likes his channel is going to watch this, I addressed the last point in my last video that I made about this, so if you're going to go in the comments and say that he didn't have any answers for that, I made an hour-plus long video about why that's not the case. Just go check that video out. I'm not going to explain it again. Oh, and as for this too, there's again so many things you could do. You can text a girl up before an hour and a half beforehand and say, "Hey, I'm gonna be 10 minutes late." If you sense a girl's gonna reject you on a date, flake her first, and oftentimes she'll chase you for the second date. You can also have a really fucking great date. You can make her laugh and you can tease her, and of course she would mess you afterwards. A second date. I mean, I don't usually, I usually fuck on the first date, but if there was a second date and I decided I want to meet up with a girl again, there's so much, you can get her chasing you. You can make her feel good emotions. You can be relaxed. You can be at ease. You can be not putting a lot of pressure on her. You can just have the vibe of a guy that is masculine and confident. And guess what's going to happen? She's of course going to come on a second date because there's no downside to coming out and hanging out with you. So it's just like, again, this guy's just focusing on things. He's not focusing on something that he can control. He's focused on things that he can't control. He's focusing, which is what victim, it's actually literally the definition for victim mentality. So, victim mentality.
To get away with doing cringy things on a first date, bad one-liners, and have
Be solution oriented. If these are your problems, what are the solutions? Because I guarantee you, if I were to sit down personally with pen and paper, I'd come up with a dozen solutions for each.
poor sense of humour. Meanwhile, a less attractive man, his date needs to be pretty much perfect. Every line needs to be a winner, and one slip-up could completely kill any chances that he has. And on top of...
Yeah, it's also coming from the frame that she's on the pedestal, not you. And that's also going to fuck up the date. So, man, if you're watching this video, if you believe you're on the pedestal yourself and you put your own comfort first, oftentimes you just say the right things. Now, if you put her first, you're going to try to impress her as opposed to just having fun and enjoying the date. Guess what happens when you do that? Because you care less about the interaction? She starts chasing you because you're a vacuum of qualification. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, it's just, you're coming from the wrong mentality, man. Put yourself on the pedestal. It's not the girl, it's you.
all of this, even after all of this hard work, you also need to be watching her, and you need to make sure that you like her too, as much as she will be watching you to make sure that she likes you. Are you starting to see the extent of how inconceivably small the odds are to successfully attract and date a girl via the cold approach? The juice isn't worth the squeeze. I'll put it a different way. You might have heard of the Richter Scale.
Me and my friends, we do amazing in that field right there specifically, and we get amazing results. But I'll say this too, even if we didn't, the social skills and the confidence you develop actually carry into all aspects of women. You can go and talk to a girl in your social circle, at your work, like any of those spots, and you're gonna have a higher chance of it going well because you're just more polished. You have a better personality, a better persona. You have more wit. You don't mind having eye contact with her. You don't mind giving her energy, the kind of energy that is masculine. It makes her feel like she can call you daddy. That's what I'm getting at with this. You're coming across more like a man as opposed to a boy in your energy.
And pretty much it is a way of measuring earthquakes. So if we take two earthquakes, one of them measures an 8, another one measures a 7. Now this might not seem like a big difference. It's only 1 point of difference. However, the difference between a 7 and an 8 on the Richter scale is actually 10 times difference. So an 8 is 10 times more powerful than a 7. And the point I'm trying to make here is that the look scale, the 1 to 10 look scale, is the Richter scale. It is the same concepts being applied. So for every...
I agree with that, but I don't think he's on the wrong metrics. But I do agree, like usually the top 1% of the guys getting all the girls, but it's not necessarily this that's causing that to be the case. It's don't get me wrong, it's a factor, but it's very, how to put it, this is not going to stop you from getting to that result if you want it to be fair.
You drop in attractiveness, then it is going to be anywhere from 5 to 10 times harder to attract and date women via the cold approach. The difference is astonishing. So the gap between a 3 and a 5 might not seem like much on paper, but these two guys are pretty much living two completely different worlds. And the same goes for this guy compared with this guy. Again, it might not seem like much of a difference. It's only 3 points worth of attractiveness. But the differences in treatment that these men will receive is massive. This is my point. The look scale is the Richter scale. And one final thing. If you keep keen...
Again, if you want to see my argument for this, check out the other video.
...on the comment section on my videos, then you will know that I am not a huge fan of the 1 to 10 scale. And I will be outlining all of the other issues I have with the 1 to 10 scale in a future video. But this reason is one of the main ones. Anyway, as seen by the title and thumbnail, that I was also going to be debunking 2 other red pill concepts in this video, but I've already covered a lot today, so these will be in a future video. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Leave a like and any thoughts you have in the comment section below, as it helps the YouTube algorithm. Myth 1. Just run the...
So, the one big key factor he's missing is that you can improve. He doesn't think that you can improve in this. Let's say hypothetically speaking, that your charisma and the way you speak doesn't make you more attractive. Let's say that becoming more masculine, stronger by developing an ability to stand for yourself, put your comfort first, develop wit, develop an ability to read social cues, to speak more from your diaphragm, to using pauses, to speaking in a way that is engaging, to being able to tell stories, to having cool friends, to having an amazing social circle, to having an amazing life, to using pre-selection, being a leader of men, to having a purpose, to having something bigger than the girl itself. None of these things matter. Let's say none of these things matter. You still work on your looks. You can still change your hair up. You can still dress nicer, things that fit you better. You can start working out. You can hit the gym, eat clean. You can greens, makes your skin look a lot better. You could, there's so much that you can do to move your results. And it's just this guy, man, I get why people watch this, because a lot of people kind of resonate. It's anger porn. People want to be angry. And if you don't know what that term is, look it up. Anger porn is an addictive thing. And a lot of people want to watch this because for them, it justifies the fact that they're losers. It justifies it. And it takes a lot of pressure off too, because if you're just inherently like this, it's not your fault. You don't have to work hard. So they don't invest any energy into it. They just get lazy. That's my problem with this. He's coming from a headspace that there's nothing you could possibly do. And that's not the case. It's intelligent effort that's going to get you in that next place. I write down field reports after every time I go out, and I sit down and I say, how could I have improved? I think, how could I have improved? I write down a 2.0 version, which is my next version of myself, that is going to have even better results than the current me, that is going to have what I want. He's going to move, speak, act in a way that's going to get him the results that I want. So in this way, I'm constantly polishing myself. I'm constantly working on this. And if you're doing nothing but bang your head against the drums, this is going to be more the case, yes. But you add the quality of effort, and that switches everything up because it becomes exponential, because you get better at improving yourself. At first, you might find one or two things to improve, and then you start finding more and more, and you start getting better at it, and you start exponentially getting better. And that's why I don't like this, because it's come from headspace that you are just not going to get any better. There's nothing you can possibly fucking do. And I disagree. Now, if you guys want to argue with me in the comment section below, I know my boys probably don't. They're probably going to be like, yeah, do it. Yeah, this video was great. Yeah, cool. Yeah, awesome. Love you guys, by the way. But for those of you guys that are obviously coming from Waffles' video and are going to disagree with me, please watch the entire video. I know maybe you skipped ahead. Maybe you're just like, or maybe you're... a lot of guys in the comment section below that were just coming onto my channel, those guys had no idea what I was talking about. They missed on a few key points that they looked like they skipped ahead a lot. And they weren't, because I addressed a lot of the points they made. So please, if you got to this point and didn't actually watch the video before you start commenting something. Actually, no, screw it. Say it. Go for it. Do you, boo. All right, now with that being said, peace.